All right, are we live? Chat, are we live? I think I have to start this thing. Beautiful. All right, well, for whoever's here on time, I'm here with my man, Rob Welty. Sam Lee here, Vice President, Trivium Group. So we're talking about really all things video. I am the ads guy. So for me, my perspective is, especially within Amazon DSP, what ads work and what ads don't. Rob is the creative genius. Rob is the one that creates all the videos and the content that make my job a lot easier if he's actually the one producing them. So I'll let Rob introduce himself, and then we'll dive into, I guess, what we're covering today.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. I'm excited to be here. I've been founded Video Fresh about 10 years ago, and we just love helping brands get more performance, the performance they deserve out of their video ads. And it's just as much about the content as it is about really great campaign strategy and getting really tactical with that. Those two things really work together. So like really excited to talk through some tactics with you and hopefully provide some value. So.
Yeah, it's similar to if you're marketing a website, but your website looks terrible, then you can have the best marketing strategy in the world and it's not going to work. We can do all the targeting under the sun. We can reach the proper audiences, but if your videos aren't being served to the right person at the right time in the right way, then it's worthless. I mean, we've all
100%.
seen video ads that have resonated. We've all seen video ads that don't. So it's very instrumental in any form of advertising strategy. Content is king. It always has been, and it always will be. So I guess
Yeah.
to start off, then let's talk about. I mean, video. It's always been important, but I'd say with the things that Amazon has been rolling out, with TikTok, with Netflix, with a lot of these things we're going to cover, it's just more and more instrumental. And the conversation that I'm having every day seem to revolve more around video as time goes on. So I guess the first thing that I think would be worth touching on, I guess just best practices, and I think what we should talk about is probably like breaking this down by funnel stage, right? Like the differences between running a video that's being served on connected TV or through Netflix or through Prime Video versus a video that's being served on a YouTube ad or somebody that's a little bit more targeted versus videos that live on a website or on an Amazon product detail page. So I guess what is your overall thought process behind like how you create these videos based on funnel stage? And we can take it from there.
Yeah, no, that's such a good question. And I think this is like one of the most misunderstood facts to this day about how to get performance on not only on Amazon, but it goes the same thing's true for social or anywhere else, where what you want to do is first of all understand what the psychological state is of your customer at each of those stages in the funnel, and they're super different, right? So at the top, you're talking about DSP or something like CTV or Netflix, or like if you think about a top of funnel engagement, which is kind of like, you haven't the person has not asked to learn about this product, right? You're targeting them based on some sort of their demographics or other things like that. Really what you want to do at that stage is just a couple things. You want to make them feel something. So you want to grab them, make them feel something, introduce the product to them, and let them know what the product is, and then kind of invite them to take an action and learn more about it, right? What you don't want to do at that stage is really overeducate or try to shove too many features and benefits or talking points into that. And the reason you don't want to do that is because they didn't ask, right? Like
Right.
they're actually trying to watch something else or whatever they're doing. This ad is probably something that they're waiting to get through to get to the thing they really want. So what you want to do is be really empathetic about that, and you want to create something that actually does, just kind of, it's a touch and go. It's like, hey, here's a bit, and I think lifestyle is good, depicting the lifestyle of the customer. So try to be relevant by showing some lifestyle that viewer can relate to, and introduce your product in the context of that lifestyle or maybe a problem that it's solving, and then just leave it at that. Just don't overcook it and let them take that action and learn more. Is what we've seen work the best. Would you say that's kind of in line with what you've seen?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that the benefit in platforms like Amazon DSP in digital marketing in general, which has allowed us to be way more targeted versus creating, a literal billboard or a Super Bowl commercial where you have no idea who you're serving your ads to,
Yeah.
is the customization of those ads. But I think you have to do it within reason. So the brands that I see doing really well are, for one, yeah, it has to be eye catching, it has to be memorable, and that you're gonna, you know, as you said, like people are trying to get through ads for the most part. Like if you're watching a show and you get interrupted with ads, everyone's pretty annoyed, everyone's on their phone. So you have to create something that's memorable. But that being said, we have this ability now to customize our advertising based on who we're serving it to, but we can't overly rely on that. So it's still, we need to take into consideration who we're serving it to, but we also need funnel stage to be top of mind. So, for example, the brands that I see do really well are like, let's say we're selling a supplement or like some sort of protein drink, whatever it is. Um, there are several people that might be a consumer of that product. It could be an active gym goer, it could be a mom who's looking for something to give her kids in the morning before they go to school. It could be someone who's elderly and they need these nutrients in their diet, whatever it is. These are very different people. So the content and the way that we can target them, we can dive in to each of those things and serve ads to each of those people based on their browsing behavior and specifically what they buy on Amazon. That being said, within that, we still need a different type of ad for connected TV that's interrupting Netflix or Prime Video versus a sponsored brand video ad versus a product detail page video. So it
Yes.
needs to be customized to the person, but I think the thing that can often get overlooked is customized based on the funnel stage. So
Mm,
what is going to make me
totally.
a like whether it's music, whether it's something eye-catching visually, which I know you have some examples of, but what's going to make me actually pay attention? And relevancy is a big part of that. But as you said, like you can't be overly educational within these videos because people's eyes are going to glaze over and they're not going to pay attention. So
Yeah.
start with something that feels like it's tailored to them without being creepy. And then once they look you up, once they get to these other forms of video, once they've been to the page and you're retargeting them, then it's like, why am I better than the other product that's next to me on the digital shelf? So
Mm.
it's personalization within reason, and then it's, awareness, consideration, purchase. So that sounds like 9 videos that I'm talking about, and sometimes it is,
Yep,
but you
exactly.
have to take that into consideration or you're just burning ad dollars.
Yeah, I love that. It's almost like there's a matrix, right? There's like what stage, and you said it really well. Like, what's the stage of the funnel that you're at, and what is the subcategory of your customer base that this is intended for? And I think that that really does come into play. I think that the most optimal thing is to take your customer base and break it out into different categories. Almost every product that we make content for, there's different categories of there's not one type of customer. And this does vary for sure per product, but um, here's a great example. We were working on a project for so it was something called an overbed table. So it's a table that rolls over a bed if someone's like in the hospital or like is in bed and needs like a table, eat
Yeah.
breakfast or whatever. Um, but what's funny is there was like totally different kinds of customers that were buying this. Some people were buying this as a standing desk because it's also kind of a cool standing desk, goes up and down. And some people were using it in their garage to put like tools on and stuff. And it's kind of like the perfect product for all three of those. And the client was aware of these different demographics. And so what they had been doing is they had been creating one video that was saying it can
Serving
be
all
this, it can be
purposes.
this,
Yeah.
yeah, all purpose. And they're like, oh, we want to show that it's versatile. And our message to them is no one customer needs to know how versatile it is.
Right.
Every cut, what
None of that doesn't matter. Like none of like the fact that it can do 3 things matters to no one.
that matters to no one. You almost want each of them to think it's not versatile. It's
Still for
only
them.
for the
Yeah.
thing they need.
It's
And
a
if you
good
think of
point.
it that way, you're going to get way higher performance. And that goes that's this that was specifically for sponsor brands level, but that story is totally true for top of funnel DSP. Like if you're going to tell a lifestyle story, yeah, if you have a product that, and you as the brand, you care about the versatility. Usually, none of your
The consumer
customers,
doesn't. Like the
yeah,
person that's bedridden and needs that, or is buying it for someone who is doesn't they're not going to bring it out to their garage and then use it for working on their car and then bring it wherever else. So knowing
exactly.
that it has these purposes is beneficial for you as a brand, but you need to tailor it to the consumer. right? So
Yes.
having different videos or splicing it that way, that's a really good point. Because versatility for a product is so beneficial, but like the way that you display that should still be tailored to someone. Like if I'm someone
Yeah.
that's needing it in my garage and I see it going over someone's bed, that almost unsells me. Like I like don't want it anymore. It's not meant for me
Yes.
as a
And,
mechanic.
and, and the amount of brands that are thinking of their products that way. And now if the versatility is all for one customer avatar, that's different. But if the
Usually
versatility
isn't.
is
Yeah.
like different customer avatars, you have to have a totally different funnel for that. One funnel per customer, and really the way
Yeah.
that we
It's
like to
like
think
you're
about it.
stoked as a brand owner that your product's so versatile and you can sell it to
Exactly.
different people. But it's not that impressive to the person that needs it for one thing. So
It's
you
not
don't
doing
need to
you any
showcase
favors.
the uses. Yeah.
As it's not getting you more conversions, that's for sure. I think
Yeah.
that um what you want to do is probably one funnel, one entire funnel per customer avatar is ideal. Now that there's costs associated with that, so maybe not.
Right.
What you have to do is you say, where's the threshold that this customer avatar is significant enough to be worth the investment, and then maybe it's kind of even an 80-20 thing. Your top, you're probably 80% of your revenue is coming from 20% of your customer avatars, and so
Right.
start there, crush those, and then for the other 80%, just you could do a catch-all, some catch-all content for them or whatever, right? So it's
Sure.
kind of like finding that balance.
You'd be shocked at the amount of times that I've worked with a brand that thought they had their customer demographic nailed down, and it turns out they were completely off base.
Mm,
Like, for example, I work with a brand that does basically like wipes. Like for cleaning yourself, it's like a shower substitute or like an on the go
mm.
sort of thing. And by default, what you think of is athletes, people that are working out and they need like a quick cleaning solution on the go, or potentially people that are camping and they don't have a shower accessible, so they need to be able to wipe themselves off. And those are also, they're definitely people that buy the product, but they've learned later that the majority of their demographic was older people, that it's difficult for them
Interesting.
to get into the shower, so they need these wipes to clean themselves. And then the way that you structure your content on your listing on Amazon and the videos that you're promoting, like everything changes, and you need additional. And the way that we do that is basically we take like a purchase audience for a product, and then Amazon gives us overlapping audiences that tells us like what's your demo, what are the lifestyle and in market segments that these people also fall into. And it's often pretty surprising for brands like who's actually buying their product, and the way that you structure your content completely changes if you learn that you're pitching to the wrong person at the end of the day.
That's so interesting, and that's gonna definitely be a good segue into. Well, first I could show an example of
Yeah.
a best practices DSP here. All right, let's see if the screen sharing tech does what we're looking for. So I'm gonna share this, and this should share the audio. So this is one we did for post serial, no big deal. But but it's kind of exactly. You'll notice we touch on the lifestyle, and we let them know what it is. It's a cereal that's got protein for a high performance lifestyle. That's it. We
Yeah.
don't. We could have gone into a lot more here. So, and also it's got kind of an ASMR vibe, which I will go into as.
I watched this earlier and I noticed that.
It's got an ASMR vibe, which I love for DSP, and I'll explain why. So they're leaving to go on a bike ride. High performance lifestyle is there. The reason I love ASMR for videos that someone's not opting into as a way to get attention is, if you think about the context this is in, this could also be, and I think in particular this was actually streaming TV, but they could also use it for DSP. And if you think about streaming TV, there's like program after program. Maybe this is in a lineup of a few different ads. This
Yeah.
is before they're gonna watch a show. The silence with the sound effects actually stands out more than if there was music and it was just like high
Yeah.
octane audio. Like something about the silence can stand out if this is going to be like in an ad lineup. like a pre-roll thing.
100%.
So it's kind of an interesting play there. But
Yeah. And I watched this earlier, and if I'm going to be totally honest, ASMR makes me a little bit uncomfortable. That being
yeah,
said, it caught my attention immediately. Like if this was on my TV versus just something that overlays into music and blends into the background, I'm not going to notice it. However,
yeah,
because it makes me uncomfortable, I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then
yeah.
I see it, it's 20 grams of protein. You did sell me on this a little bit. Like I feel like this is something I'd buy. And
It's pretty good.
whatever
Yeah.
it is, like being eye-catching and being a little bit disruptive is really what you need at that stage every time.
It's better to be there's a quote about this, but yeah, it's better to, but this isn't the quote, but it's better to make them a little uncomfortable than get ignored, right? um
100%.
and yeah, and I kind of agree with you. I mean, I think that, yeah, that it's very visceral, the audio, it really kind of grabs you. But I think that, yeah, if your product makes a sound, so here's a great message for everybody. If your product makes a sound when you use that to your advantage, right? If your product, that there's an ASMR opportunity to, it makes people feel like they imagine using the
They're
product, right? It makes,
experiencing it in real time, basically.
yeah, there's something really, really engaging and kind of all consuming about the sound of your product and help people. That's one of the best things about a video. It's why video is still king. You got audio, you got music, you got storytelling.
Limitless ways that you can do it. It's kind of the
Yeah,
gift and the curse of it, right? Like
right.
when I work with brands that they want to do a big streaming TV push, they're like, all right, let's put 100K behind streaming TV. I want to test out Prime. I want to test out whatever. It's exciting, but I'm also like, let's see the videos because
Yeah,
it's the gift and the curse is that you're stacked up against so much other content and that you can do anything with it and you can make it really engaging and disruptive and impactful. However, it can also blend in. And like we talked about before, like the targeting stuff is so useful if you do it right. But
yes,
I've found that brands that like skimp out on the video production stuff and they're like, well, we have this one, let's just use this, let's test it out. It's like, this doesn't really speak to how effective this platform can be for you if the video is kind of half-assed. So,
totally. And I think that, and this is gonna, that we'll put a bookmark there for the, when we get to the AI conversation, because there's
yeah,
something really key about what you just said, that people are just aren't like, people don't see the forest for the trees right now with AI content. And I think that what you just said is one of the most important things, which is standing out. And I think that, um, if there's one way to disappear into the abyss right now, it's like pushing one button and getting a video and just like, oh, cool, I got content. It took me 5 minutes. What a great ROI. It's like, see
it
how that
has its
plays out.
time
See,
and place. And I know that's like a whole topic we need to cover, but
yeah,
it has its time and place. And it's like, there's so much benefit to these things that people are having such an inherent problem with. And
yeah,
what I mean by that is like, yeah, you can make a video in 10 seconds. You can message 100 people in 1 second on LinkedIn. I don't even know how many LinkedIn messages I have right now. It's hundreds. It didn't used to be. It's just
yeah,
absurd. It's so much AI. That being said, it does give the people that do things the right way a great opportunity to stand out. Like in
exactly.
a
If
world
you,
of like AI slop, if you're actually putting the time and effort into making engaging content, it just what everyone else is doing can just make you look that much better.
I love that, and I know that we're going to get to AI, the whole thing later, so I don't know how deep to go on that, but I know that, I think what you said is exactly what I think. It's a tool. It's an amazing tool. It's not a substitute for the fundamentals of
Yeah,
what
time and
makes
place.
content work. And I think right now people are, it's actually making people creatively more lazy, I think. And I think people, it's the temptation to, oh, this better take me 5 minutes, and I better not have to put too much thought into this, because that's the whole point, is I can push a button and get the thing. It's like this, like, it's and what you want is, you hope that your competitors have that attitude, right,
Right.
about their content, so you can stand out with some of your human inspiration,
It's the
and
same way
tactics.
like kids these days are apparently using AI to talk to each other. Like
Mm,
there's an episode of South Park about this where it's
whoa,
like they're literally taking what this person said, plug it into Chat GPT, how should I
right,
respond, and regurgitating it. And it's like that is the problem with AI
Yeah.
inherently, I don't have any problems with AI. I feel like it's an incredible tool. It helped us build some of the structure for this conversation we're having today, but it's used
Yeah.
as a tool, right? It's like, give me the baseline. Like, I have the ideas, give me the baseline, let me touch it up, make it my own. Same goes for video, same goes with everything else. It's just use it as a way to support you and not as to have it do your job for you.
Yeah. Use it as an assistant, not as the authority, is another way I
Totally.
like to think of it. Is like, am I using AI right now as a substitute for my own intuition? That's not good.
Right.
What I should do is use ChatGPT once, or whatever the tool is, once I've formulated with clarity what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, what the
Exactly.
move is. And I could use it to brainstorm part of that process, but at the end of the
Totally.
day, I think, yeah, when it comes to your brand, like, don't outsource the inspiration for your brand to the AI, because by definition,
And hope your
it's
competitors do it.
yeah, it's always going to hope your competitors do it. It's always AI is always a regression to the mean. In other words,
That's a good way to
it's
put it. Yeah.
by definition, it's not going to it's going to give you, it's actually the way that AI works, right? Is it's giving you the most likely probabilistic answer. It's a probability thing, is literally how it works.
The
It's
mean
think
is a really good way to put that. Like it's giving you the most, like it's sourcing information from all these places and just giving you the average. So if you
it's
use it
giving you the
yourself, the
average.
average.
And by definition, you don't want your brand to be average.
Right.
So you want your brand, if you want your brand to stand out, AI is going to actually not be the right tool to kind of break out of the boxes. I think good brands break out of a box, right? In a way, that's actually by definition not AI strong suit. It's AI strong suit to give you the most likely probabilistic, like we said. I think that,
I'll give you a C.
yeah, it gives you, it's gonna like nail it. It's gonna give you like really tried and true advice, and it is great for a lot of things. It's great for productivity. It's great for educating yourself on things. But yeah, there's definitely, I spend a lot of time just thinking about it, because I'm also trying to make sure I'm not using it the wrong way, right? It's like we're all trying to figure it out. Like, where is this thing actually gonna get me where I want to go? And I think that it at this stage, and we could get sci-fi about it and argue whether this will change or what, but for sure right now it is no substitute for your human inspiration and intuition.
100%.
And so anyway, I know we're digressing on that. Oh cool, we got we got questions coming in. And I will definitely answer that question. Yeah, do we want to kind of do questions as we go, Sam, or kind of save stuff for the end?
I think if it's relevant to what we're discussing, we can cover it. Otherwise,
Okay.
we'll go in at the end.
Sorry, just making sure we're following protocol. But yeah, what AI video do you use for your Amazon product videos? I'm guessing the question is like, what platforms do we use to make them? Is that right? There is, and I can show you some examples. There's a ton of different tools right now. There's
Honestly, we might as well just go into this now since we're already covering it.
There's
I
Vibe
know
with
you
it.
had,
Yeah.
yeah, you had an AI video or two, and again, like the important thing here is that AI, again, as a tool, is incredibly important, incredibly valuable. Amazon's rolling out more features to incorporate it in a really easy way into everything that you're doing. It's just where do you use AI and in what way versus where do you definitely not use AI. And again,
Right.
like if we're talking about brands that are doing a large scale streaming TV buy to a targeted audience, it's like you're already going to put a lot of money behind this. You might as well put some money into actual video production to stand out.
Yeah.
Versus if you need a listing video, like on your listing, that's just simply showcasing the product, what it does, and you don't need to pay a production team to go actually out and like shoot something. Like this was a really good example of this. This totally showcased, like by the time I'm on a listing, or honestly, if I'm searching for something very particular and I see an AI video that showcases the product, it's beautiful because it's telling me what it does and that's what I need. Versus if my show on Netflix is getting interrupted with an ad, I do not care about the specific use cases for a product I wasn't looking at. So it has its time and place, and this is actually a good example of it. So I'll show it.
Yeah, that's really well said. Yeah, this was for a whiskey decanter set, obviously. Now, this brand had a ton of image assets already, but they didn't have a best practices listing page video. So we were able to make that out of their images. So here we go. And this is a listing page video, features and benefits, things like that. So
See, like
yeah, so
by the time I'm browsing for a gift for someone, or even more specifically, I'm looking up whiskey glasses. If I'm like nearing the mid to bottom portion of the funnel, this is exactly what I want to see. If this randomly interrupted my show that I'm watching on Netflix or on
yeah.
Prime Video, I'd be like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is your text here? Like, what does that even mean? But by the time you're looking for it, this is perfect. There's no reason to shoot, like, get a studio and shoot a video of a whiskey glass, right? Like, this is perfect in the right situation.
Yeah, and if I was gonna make the top of funnel version of this, what I would do is probably like, what would the perfect video be for top of funnel for this one? I would say showing that, because they already, to your point, they already know it's customizable. They're actually trying to find a customizable glass.
Right.
At the top of the funnel, what I would do is just have a glass and then show it getting engraved,
Yep.
and then like cheers, and then like
Yeah.
cut. That's it. Like,
Like
oh,
there's
this,
there's two
yeah,
ways to do it, in my opinion. The top of the funnel, it's either like you're talking about, like some of the ASMR, very like audio heavy stuff. Like seeing a glass get engraved is very eye catching. Or you have like you go kind of like the Dr. Squatch or like Old Spice method, where you go
yeah,
add some humor to it. You have a guy sitting there talking about it, and there are also like hybrid ways that people have been doing. I was talking to my buddy last night. He runs a company, Happy Nuts. They're like a ball deodorant.
oh,
They,
we've
they,
done work with them. Yeah,
yeah, I was talking to him about this last night, and I think it's like they've gone for like a hybrid model where they have a real person. This person is speaking. They're making they have a deep voice. They're making light of it. They're making jokes, but a lot it's green screen. A lot of the backgrounds AI. A lot of like there's a hybrid model that works as
yes,
well, and it's you can lean into the real human component of it, or you can lean into the like technical ASMR thing like we're talking about. Like I would be very interested to see how a glass like that would get engraved. I don't know how that works or what it
yeah.
sounds like. But it's gonna be it's good as long as it's eye catching. There are a couple ways that you can do it, and then once somebody's looking up like personalized whiskey glass gifts for him or whatever, then this video fits perfect.
Yeah. Elizabeth asked about, and I know Callum has a question too, but yeah, this one was used with, I think we mainly use Kling AI to do this, using existing photos. So we got a ton of existing photos, prepared those photos in Photoshop to be ideal for Kling. Then you drop them into Kling, you give your instructions, you get the clips, right? So and I wonder how many people think that AI actually just spits out this whole video. I mean, what AI does is give you clips, right? So it produces clips for you. Quite a bit of manual editing work. Really the same amount of editing work goes into an AI video as a live action video, right? But
Make
to
sure you only
Sam,
has 5 fingers.
yeah, right. Count the fingers. You never know. But yeah, and AI is, as you will see, as people, if you've never tried to make an AI video, go try to make one, and you will get very hands-on experience as to where it excels and where its limitations are. So, and I love what you said, Sam, about the hybrid model. We're also finding, I think the hybrid model is the future. So I think that um, the big difficulty with AI videos is control. That's the big word. Control and consistency are the two things about AI videos that where you run into the most trouble right now. And so like this is a perfect product for AI because it's whiskey being poured into a glass. Easy.
Yeah.
Like you can prompt that all day long. Would I recommend that if someone has, here's a tripod, a foldable tripod has certain kinds of mounts on it. There's a lot of stuff to there's a lot of stuff to demonstrate with a product like that. You're probably not going to have a great time doing that with AI. And so, yeah, so I think that, and we don't have to spend much more time talking about the AI stuff. I've done like whole hours on just that. So, but I think kind of taking it back to the DSP thing. Okay, we've established DSP as being something that you want to grab their attention, introduce them, invite them to learn about the product. So yeah, we can kind of keep going down the funnel here to like
Yeah.
sponsor brands if you want.
So I think so. A couple of things. So Callum, as far as your question goes, I run a Shopify fashion store. We run Facebook ads mostly using images. Do images creators work well on DSP or video the only format that converts? So I would say, realistically speaking, amongst all the brands that I've worked with on the Amazon DSP side, it's about 80% static. But that being said, whether you're promoting an Amazon store versus a Shopify store makes a big difference. I'm not a big advocate typically of static imagery to promote a Shopify store because, for one, we're using Amazon's audiences, so we're targeting Amazon customers, right? So what that means is that people are inherently more likely to click on an ad that they know is directing them to Amazon versus a miscellaneous static ad that they don't know where they're going. So that's why with brands that I work with that sell on Amazon, I always lean, as when it comes to static, on responsive e-commerce ads because it has the Amazon branding, it has the Prime badge, it has the add to cart button, and Amazon shoppers are comfortable clicking on that versus just a general lifestyle image that we could use for static. People don't click on those ads because they don't want to go to a random website, is the truth of it. So in reality, if you're not selling on Amazon, I probably wouldn't use Amazon DSP for static imagery. You could use Amazon DSP for video to drive to a D2C site. That can be very effective. Online video or streaming TV, depending on what you're trying to get out of it and what your budget is. But online video to drive to a Shopify store totally works. Static imagery to drive to a Shopify store, in my experience, does not work. But if you're selling on Amazon, static completely works. You use responsive ads. Amazon customers are fine clicking on them because they know where they're going. And then Hamad, as far as video content versus targeting strategy, we'll touch on both. I mean, these things, the point of this really is how they interact with each other, like how targeting strategy and video content are related. Because the point is, like within specifically Amazon DSP, which is what I know, so obviously what I'm going to talk about is there are a lot of ways that we can create audiences, and we can create audiences for people that have been exposed to our brand, that have been to our product detail page but haven't purchased. We can create audiences or use Amazon's audiences for people that are actively browsing the category, or we can make audiences based on their historic purchase behavior, who they are. And the point is that there's so many targeting capabilities within Amazon's DSP as well as other platforms that the benefit is that we can reach so many audiences, we can get so creative with it. The important thing is, in the event that you're running video, it's just as important to customize that video content and have something engaging as it is to target specific people, and what kind of video content works for these different types of audiences that we're ultimately targeting. So, like, as far as diving into specific targeting strategies, like, yeah, I mean, a lifestyle audience within Amazon is what I would use for something like a connected TV ad, a Netflix ad, a Prime Video ad, because you want a bigger audience for those sort of things to keep your cost per impressions down. So lifestyle audience for top of the funnel, and then once we get into things like online video and static display targeting, then that's when we get into, custom audiences based on browsing behavior. So it's just important to customize the content that you're serving based on where someone is in their customer journey.
Yeah, and like so taking that post serial ad for example, right? Like maybe, how would you think about the DSP targeting for the streaming TV targeting, streaming TV technically? Like, how would you go about answering the question of like, how do we target this, and and I know it's all hypothetical, but like,
Yeah, I'd say that's an interesting one because I do think that's one of the video ads that I've seen that could very well be multi-purposed, in that what you're highlighting is, it's engaging and you're highlighting nutritional benefits, right? Like, one of the biggest things that I got out of the video is that there are 20 grams of protein. So for me, I think that very well could work as a top of funnel connected TV type of ad, the targeting that I would use for that is I would layer in fitness enthusiasts. I would layer in, I would try that in one audience. I would do like in-market segments for things like protein powders, amino acids, anything that somebody who cares about protein would potentially also be buying. And then the next thing I would do is if that product is available on Amazon, I make a purchase audience based on that product. I run an overlap report and I see what are the highest overlaps, like what are the highest affinity correlations between someone that's already bought my products and then the audiences that are already available on Amazon. And then I break those out and I target those audiences individually because sometimes you'd be surprised. But inherently, I think that video works across most of the funnel. But you just want to, if the main focus of the video is highlighting the protein content, who cares about protein? And test things out.
Totally. Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, I guess we could move. Should we move to sponsored brands video ads, which is something that I think is pretty cool. It's kind of like the most. I think it's one of the most overlooked opportunities for most brands because we've honed in on a strategy over the last 5-10 years. Like, I mean, probably not 10 years ago, but however long it's been around. What I love about sponsored brands video ads is it's like one of the only places on the internet where shopping intent is like 10 out of 10. Someone types in a keyword and you can literally put any creative against that keyword or that category of a keyword to be the most relevant thing. It's incredibly powerful. Most brands are kind of just overlooking the tactics there, right? Because
how customizable it can be based on the keyword, you mean, right?
Yeah, if someone's typing in like, here's the thought exercise I like, everyone can maybe think about with their brands is like, so look at all your keywords and break them into categories. So actually ChatGPT is really good at this and I made a custom GPT that does this really well is like, you paste in all your, so rank your keywords by impressions, like even if you have 1,000 keywords, right? Rank them all by impressions and then ask ChatGPT to find, based on the number of cumulative impressions in the category, find the biggest categories of keywords based on customer search intent in the long tail detail, right? So if you're selling a backpack, for example, and it's like obviously there's backpack, and then there's but then you get like that's the short tail, and then you get like waterproof backpack or like lightweight backpack, these different things. Sometimes you get categories of things that are very hard for your competitors to be depicting in their little picture with the white
That's a really good
background.
point. Like if I'm looking for a waterproof backpack and then somebody shows me a sponsored brand video ad of how light the backpack is, I don't care.
Right.
And this is also a really good use case, like depending on what sort of assets you're able to create, where AI can come in handy in a big way. Like if your product is waterproof and it's lightweight and it's good for going to school, whatever, then having a semi-customized video based on those longer term queries, that's a really good point.
Yeah, like if you're a customer, like I'm an Amazon shopper, I think maybe we all are also shoppers, right? When I'm typing in waterproof backpack, what I'm doing is I'm only going to click on one that demonstrates that it's waterproof, right? So if I'm going to scroll right past every search result that doesn't shout waterproof at me.
If you see a video right at the top that has water bouncing off of a backpack, you're going to click that 9 out of 10 times.
And like there it is, boom! I want the waterproof one, right? So we have to realize how much weight is behind long tail details in keywords. They're not just going, oh, I guess maybe they're literally saying, I will only click on something that clearly communicates this characteristic.
Totally.
It's a big deal. And I think that, and if you can take those categories and say, okay, 30% of my keywords, my customers are typing in waterproof for the backpack. So that's worth, the way I would say it is 30% of impression, like 30% of cumulative impressions of all all the traffic that's coming my way about people looking for backpacks. 30% of that traffic is they want waterproof. Okay, if that's is all hypothetical, but that's totally worth a separate piece of creative where the opening shot and to use text waterproof, right? Like you said, water splashing off of it.
Spoon feed it to people as best you can.
Totally. We have done this with brands in like every category. They always see a huge spike in click-throughs and conversions, always.
Completely,
And
I
it and it
agree.
and it remains it somehow, and we've been doing this for about 5 years. I have yet to come across anyone other than us that is like pushing that strategy, right? I mean, I'm sure they're out there, but it's just the point is your competitors are probably not doing this,
Yeah,
for whatever reason, and it always works. Um, and so it doesn't mean that every video in these categories has to be a completely different video. Definitely a different opening shot, right? Definitely different, maybe the middle or whatever. But sometimes it warrants a completely different creative altogether, depending on what it is. Because like to your point, like we talked about earlier, sometimes you have one product that is a completely different. It's solving a completely different problem for this client or
yeah.
customer as this customer, right? If you have a one product that solves completely different kinds of problems for people, here's a good example: is a candle. So there's a candle company I'm talking to, right? And they have there's these candles. Some people use them in weddings for a wedding candle. Some people use them in like on a table in a candelabra thing for like restaurants, right? Some people use
Right.
them as like emergency candles for like emergencies and preppers, like
I never
completely
thought of a candle
unrelated.
having this many purposes, but you're completely right. They do.
Yeah. It's like
The
it's
light
like a
bulb.
completely different. You have a prepper, you have a restaurant owner, and you have like a wedding person, like someone's getting married or planning a
Yeah.
wedding, right? So those are so different that there's very little should be the same about the creative across but all of those. And this ties back, like we're talking about with the targeting, right? So the way that you want to what we always suggest is, yeah, structure your campaigns, whether they're totally different campaign. I mean, that's where you can speak into how to actually execute on the back end for that. But
Yeah.
um, this is one of the most under leveraged tactics that continues to
See
be.
that, like the
Yeah,
targeting part's not that difficult, provided you
yeah,
have your ICP down and you have the content.
right,
Because the last thing you want to do is, using the candle example, somebody's looking up, candles for weddings, and then they're served with a video for like a doomsday prepper showing how you can light up your room in a pinch. Like they're not going to click your ad.
right.
So for one, it's the specific queries, like having something for wedding, having for whatever, and then obviously if somebody's just looking up candle, looking up light bulb, whatever. But I think identifying who's potentially buying your product, which there are a number of ways you can do that, and a lot of brands don't have as firm of a grasp on that as they think. Doing that first, creating content, both static and video, that speaks to these individual segments, and that can be depending on the resources you have, depending on how big it is. That can be AI or actual video production, again, depending on where you're serving it to these people, and then customizing the targeting to layer it into the video. So if we're talking about, I actually don't know if, like, I've seen many candles on Amazon other than like for your apartment or whatever, but
Yeah.
in the event that we're selling candles to people for weddings, we're selling candles to people for the, lighting benefits in the event of a blackout and something else. It's creating audiences based on each of those individual things, and then you use the video that speaks to that person. And it's pretty simple at the end of the day. Like, provided you have the content, the targeting stuff's easy. You just, that person to that video, that person to that video, and results will always be better if you do that.
Mm, I love that. Yeah, and so other things about the creative of a sponsor brands video, since we're on it, is also like keep it short. Also don't overeducate either, which is maybe a little counterintuitive. But the reason not to is because what we've found, we've split tested this tons of times, and the most effective kind of video is going to be like 10 to 12 seconds, not very long, and actually design them to loop. So like it's like shot one, which should always be totally motivated by the keyword category. Shot one, showing that off as you best can, and then feature benefit two, feature benefit three, all related to the search intent, and then end on a hero shot, and then like loop it. So what we found is this looping thing, when you kind of make it, is like, it's like shot one, two, three, four, shot two,
Yeah.
three, four, three, and like end on a hero shot, and then loop. Something about that is it causes people to click through, and I don't know what it is. I have a guess as to what it is, but I think it's like you're communicating first of all, they have made it to the end of the creative, and something about the repetition is almost communicating, hey, if you want to learn more, you got to click through. We're not going to give you all the information here in the ad. It's also like an invitation, right? But it's like, hey, we have validated that this is what you're looking for. Now you got to click. You got to click if you want to learn. If you make a full 45-second sponsor brands video ad that is like so thoroughly educational about every feature and benefit, they may not click because they may feel like you almost want to get them in as fast as possible. And if you give it all away, it's almost like a trailer. Like treat it like a trailer for your product, not the movie.
Right.
That gets them in better than the whole movie, I think. So
Yeah, that's a good point. And then, yes, DSP does stand for demand side platform. Which platform are the videos placed on to promote Amazon product sales? A lot of answers to that question. So, as if we're talking about video ads specifically, so there's online video, and then there's streaming TV. Online video is exactly what it sounds like. It's videos online. That can be Twitch, there's miscellaneous video real estate all across the internet. Think about like playing Wheel of Fortune on your browser and then you get interrupted by a video ad. That can be purchased through Amazon's DSP. So it's out in the online ecosystem wherever video may play, as well as obviously anything that Amazon owns. And then there's streaming and connected TV, which is on a TV. Amazon recently partnered with Netflix, so that's rolling out Q4 this year, so pretty soon, where if you're interrupted with ads on Netflix, you can buy connected TV ads there. It's Freevee, it's Prime Video, which has ads, which includes things like Thursday Night Football. And if you own a Fire Stick and that's how you access TV, there's a lot of real estate that can be bought there. So there are a lot of placements ultimately where these video ads can be shown.
Cool. Awesome. And I think we got another question, perhaps.
Just to clarify, if we use video creatives instead of images, can we still run Amazon DSP ads for a Shopify fashion store not selling on Amazon or Amazon listed products? So you can very well use Amazon's DSP to promote a Shopify store. The benefit in this is basically you can tap into Amazon's first party data, and depending on like who you're trying to reach, you can target people potentially browsing women's clothing on Amazon. They're created into that audience. You can serve video ads and direct those video ads to your Shopify store. So you don't need to be selling on Amazon in order to utilize Amazon DSP. My recommendation is simply that if you're not selling on Amazon, video is more effective than static for promoting a Shopify store.
Cool. Yeah. And so do we want to go now? Technically, the end of the funnel in my world is the listing page.
Yeah.
Do we want to spend time there?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's worth touching on because I think we've covered, so at the top of the funnel, obviously engaging, not overly educational, disruptive, whatever's going to make it stand out. There are several methods to that. I think the mid funnel is pretty much covered by, I'd say the two components of that are sponsor brands video, where they're looking for something relatively specific, but maybe not necessarily familiar with you. Same with like in-market segments or competitor audiences within Amazon DSP. That's sort of the mid-funnel video where you don't need to be necessarily as disruptive because this person's already interested in the category. However, you need to make sure you're tailoring the content to why that person is interested in your content and highlighting why you're better than the person next to you. So then the last stage of this is how content works at the bottom of the funnel, which would be, as an example, on the listing itself.
Exactly. And like you said really well, like by the time they're on your listing page, they like want to buy this product. Like they have opted in. This is like the first time in the funnel that they've actually opted into learning about it.
Right.
So they're like, yes, when you know, and if you think about yourself as a shopper, right? Like when I'm clicking around and I just want to buy something, I want to buy the thing I'm looking for. I want to find it. I want to get on with my day, right? But so by the time I click on a listing, I am hoping that this is what I'm looking for. I'm hoping
you want to buy it, right?
I want to buy it.
Yeah,
I do, and I think that's
like by the time I'm on a listing, because this product is something that I'm interested in the category. I'm pretty much sold by the time I'm on a listing, unless I get talked out of it by the price or by something that doesn't suit my needs. So that's important. That's a good point.
Yeah, and I think that it's an encouraging message, right? Because I think like that. So think about your listing page as everyone that finds their way to your listing page. These are people who want to buy. They hope it's got what they're looking for. So what you want to do, this is where you get super duper educational. So this is where like your listing page video, it doesn't have to be super entertaining. I mean, if it is, that's not bad, but it really just needs to be extremely educational through the lens and not what you want. And try to separate two things. There's what you want to say about your product, and we talked about this versatility, right? A lot of sellers we work with are excited about how versatile their product is, and as we talked about, maybe that's not quite the message in certain cases, right? There's what you want to say about the product, and then there's what your customers actually want to know at that stage. What do they want to know at that stage? They may want to now, if you're buying a piece of furniture, or sorry, if you're selling a piece of furniture, uh, you your customers probably want to know, does this thing fit? Does it fit? Like the size is probably really important, right?
Right.
What is the customer trying to validate? Why aren't they just going to the buy box? Like, why aren't they just going click buy? Because there's something they haven't validated about the product, and that's a
100%.
different thing for every type of customer. And so you know your customers better than anybody. What we do is we look at reviews. We look at what do people say about it. We
Yeah.
look at why did people return the product? Was there anything that they misunderstood about the product before they
Also
bought it?
comparison charts on the images. Like
Yes.
they look through all these things. Like the higher the price point, the more you need to focus on these things, just generally speaking, because people spend more time in making those decisions. And I think whether it's listing content, whether it's video content, the easiest way that I think is often overlooked by both marketers and brand owners is you are constantly a customer in your life. Like whether you're an Amazon customer, whether you go into stores, whether you're on TikTok or Instagram and ads are being served you, like what works with you? And it's possible that what works with you isn't necessarily what works with your demographic. That being said, like you have all this is constantly happening to you every day and you don't think about it. So it's important, like if you are influenced to buy something, think about why you were influenced to buy that thing and like what actually worked on you. And then that can guide decisions that you make in marketing your own brand. It's the easiest form of market research of all time because it's you, or just ask the people around you.
I love that so much. I always say the same thing. It's like whenever an ad catch. Now here's another good one. Like and just like you said, like think about like a top of funnel ad that you weren't even looking for anything, and they actually got you to take an action. I mean, that's a big
Right.
deal. And
What
what
worked?
was it
What
about it?
ads do you remember?
Yeah, what ads do you remember? And what I mean, I buy stuff. I get caught by ads
I'm a
from time to
sucker for
time.
Instagram ads.
I was gonna say Instagram. I bought a lot of things on Instagram based on an ad, and of course that's Meta. That's a different situation, but
Yeah.
it's a lot more. A Meta ad, the psychology behind a Meta ad is similar, but not identical to a DSP ad.
Yeah.
but
Totally.
it's similar in the sense that they're not looking to buy anything. They're actually just looking to be amused, mainly, right?
Right.
Like when you're on Instagram and you're just mindlessly scrolling to infinity, your brain is in a very special state of it's maybe it's the end of the day, or I'm just like trying to zone out for a second. You're trying to zone out and be amused. So that's even a completely different situation from any of the ones we've talked about so far. But what you want to do, like to your point, is with all these engagements, if there's ever been a DSP ad that got you to take an action, or that got you to really remember a product, yeah, pause and like self-reflect, like you said, on like what was it that
100%.
worked on you, and
100%.
about the anatomy. Was it something about the anatomy of the video? Was it something about was it funny? Was it it could just be as simple as you actually were in the market for the kind of thing
Yeah.
that and they just introduced it to you, and right place, right time. But yeah, that's really smart advice though.
Um, Callum, for this question about what kind of budget or cost per purchase, I just can't possibly answer that question with the information I have. So this is a good segue into, I have my calendar link. I'm gonna put in the chat here. if anybody is interested in talking more about general Amazon DSP stuff, whether you're running it, want to talk to me about it, whether you're interested in testing it, use that link. Rob, also, do you have a link to?
I've got a calendar link too.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to throw that in the chat also, and then I mean the best ways to reach us,
Yeah, here's
we can
mine.
put our emails in, LinkedIn, whatever it may be. But Rob will be your go-to for anything as it relates to video production. I'm your guy as it relates to Amazon DSP ads management, any of that stuff. So we'll put that in the chat in case anybody wants to reach out. But Colin, we can talk about it. I just need to know. I need to see the website and the brand, and I can give you a more accurate estimate because there are obviously a lot of variables with that.
Totally. And yeah, another thing on the content side to mention that I think is interesting with kind of regard to AI too is this is a big area of misunderstanding right now, which is AI is a great tool if you are someone with a smaller brand who kind of only has a couple products and you need some video content. AI is a great opportunity to save money on getting that content made. What's a little bit counterintuitive is AI is like at Video Fresh, a lot of times what we do is like these full live production days. So we're renting a house, we're hiring actors, and we're creating all the different kinds of videos we talked about. We're creating multiple different kinds of videos for multiple products. So it just like multiplies. A lot of times we're delivering dozens of products in a day from that. So if you're a brand that's, doing over, $1 million or a few million a year, and you have a little catalog going that, you have like 5 products, 10 products, something like that, it will be more cost effective, a lot more cost effective to actually have us do that kind of high volume filming day than trying to get all that content made one by one through the AI process. As
I'm a little
effective as
upset
it
you
is.
never invited me to one of those filming days.
I would, hey, we got one, we got them all going on all week this week. So we're
We're basically
we're,
neighbors, dude.
I
I
know,
can
dude.
get
Hey, our
involved in
creative
this.
director lives in Long Beach too. So, do you play volleyball?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, he's out there. He's out there in Long Beach on the beach doing volleyball every weekend. Anyway, I'll connect you
What
guys.
the
But
hell? Yeah, dude. Set me up with that. I want to play
yeah,
volleyball.
you guys would get along a lot. So anyway, but yeah, so just to say that I think that we're in a really interesting place with AI with content. No matter how the sausage gets made, it's all about what we talked about. It's all about empathizing with what's the customer's psychological state at the moment they're encountering your content. Like you said, what are the different types of customers that you have, and then there's like that matrix. Here's all my kinds of customers. Here's all the stages in the funnel. A lot of times the way, like you said, the way that you target each of those and the way that you have creative for each of those should be thought of case by case, and then you're going to have a lot more you're going to have a lot better results than if you're kind of doing a one size fits all for that stuff. So
100%. It's like the next frontier, right? The first thing is creating the product, then getting it live on your website and on Amazon, and getting general content created. Then you dial in your targeting strategy, and then the next thing that often gets overlooked is content customization. And I think a lot of brands are probably at the point where that's really the answer for them right now, and they might not realize it.
I think that seems to be the case more often than not, especially right now. So it's a great opportunity for you because your competitors have probably do not have great content strategy like we've talked about today. I think just by taking notes today on the things that you shared, the things that we went through, you're gonna be way ahead of the curve with your competitors.
How about the right hand being Rob, knowing what the left hand being me is doing, and
yeah,
those things, the ads guy and the creative guy being on the same page, and
totally.
that's what this is for, I guess. So, Rob, you're the man. Appreciate this a lot. Hopefully, I think people can get some value from this, and then depending on what they're in need for, reach out to me, reach out to Rob, reach out to both of us. We're here to help. So hopefully we answered most of your questions. I think you could find Rob on LinkedIn, or his calendar link is in the chat here, as is mine, for anything you guys need. So we're right on the hour here. So really appreciate the time, guys. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah.